Welcome to another episode of Cosmic Conversations. I'm your hostess, Marla Martenson, and guess what? It's February. It's the month of love. Valentine's Day is coming. As a Cupid, I love Valentine's Day, and I have with me a lady that I love, Theresa Reed, the Tarot Lady. Hey, Theresa.
Hi, Marla. Good to see you today.
You too. So you guys, Theresa is the author of the Tarot Coloring Book, which I am loving. It is so much fun. If you don't know how to read tarot, and it seems daunting, like I've been interested in it for years, but thought I can never remember any of these cards, or this coloring book has made it really fun. There's the card on one side and then the explanation on the next. So while you're coloring, you can just read about it and see. I've colored one. Look at how fun. I
love it.
I feel like a kid. So besides that, we wanted to chat a little bit about love, Valentine's Day, and I know that when you go to a tarot reader, there's 3 questions people ask. When's my soulmate coming? Or when's he coming back? You know, and then career, of course, and what's the other? Aren't there 3 main ones, Theresa?
Well, generally people will ask about their relationships.
Right.
Or they want to know, again, about their career and also their money.
Oh, money. Okay, yeah. Well, that kind of ties in with career, right? Am I getting a better job or more money?
But sometimes people are looking at their investments, or, they want to know if they're going to be able to achieve some of their goals. So, those tend to be the 3 big ones. And also, there's lots of people who want to know what's going on with their loved ones.
Oh,
so that's big too.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I would imagine love is right up there. So, Theresa has some questions, a list of questions that people can ask when going to a tarot reader, especially when talking about love. And because there's certain questions, ways to ask, and things that you should ask. I mean, you don't want to ask. There's certain things that you don't want to ask, and certain things that you do. So let us know what those are.
Well, first thing I always say, don't ever ask anything you don't want to know the answer to, which is really, really good advice, because, tarot is a way of being really honest about things and pointing out sometimes the things we do not want to see. But when you're asking about relationships, the questions that you don't want to ask are, what is he thinking about me, or how does she feel about me? That's a question that's a very difficult one to answer, because tarot and tarot readers, they're not mind readers. And now maybe some are, but I know I'm not one, although my husband would disagree. But we're not mind readers. We can't look into people's minds and hearts. We can only look at energy around a situation. That's it. I always say, if you're trying to figure out how someone feels, you're better off asking them directly instead of using the tarot cards that way. I also think that when you are asking tarot questions about love, instead of asking things like, will he come back, or will I get married? It's better to transform those questions so that you're being empowered with the questions and with the answers that come. I'm not being really eloquent when I'm saying that, but what I mean is, when you ask, will I get married? That's really kind of suggesting that your future is black and white. Right. It's either happening or not happening, and your future is happening to you instead of you being an active participant in it. Now, a better question would be, what can I do to find the ideal mate? Yes. That's a great question. Or if you're coming up against a really dry dating pool, what can I do to meet somebody for a long-term relationship? Or questions such as, things that you can do internally, like, what do I need to do within myself to heal from this old relationship? What do I need to do to let go? Those are empowering questions. So I think it's really important to take some time to choose questions that are going to give you useful information. I like to say, instead of yes and no or will I questions, you want to add something like, how can I? Or what do I need to know about? Or what is the best way for me to blank? That's going to give you information that, again, puts you in the driver's seat. And I think that's super important.
That's awesome. And I think that a lot of people kind of same with Matchmaker. They kind of want us to do the work. Like, that's the best advice that you're giving. But you've got to realize that we are in control of our own destiny. And maybe we do need to do some work on ourselves, or some healing, or get out there to some events, or get a great profile for Match.com, which takes a little bit of work. And yes. I know that sometimes my male clients will say, hey, this is what I want. I had a client mail me a list of 25 things that he wanted in a woman, and including hair color, religion, 3-inch height spread, 4-inch age range, location, hair color. I mean, it was so detailed that I said, it could take me a year or two to find, I mean, so instead of doing some work on them, it's just like, here's my list, you do it, you handle it, you fix it. And I think maybe even when somebody's coming for a reading, they're kind of like, I just want the answer, I don't want to have to do anything, what's going to happen. So it's
right. And that's so disempowering. It's you're coming at your life then with, again, this attitude of a fatalist.
Yeah.
And you and me and people who do the type of work we do, we're middlemen. That's it. You still have to do your work.
Yeah.
Years ago, I had a woman who had gotten a reading from me, and she was very frustrated. She wasn't meeting anybody. And the cards would always show that there was potential, but she never changed anything. She never went out. She didn't have an online profile. She did nothing. She sat home and assumed that somehow it was going to show up at her door magically. And I remember talking to her, and I said, you need to really be working with the universe. You have to show the universe, I know that sounds kind of oogie boogie, you have to show the universe that you really do want this. You can't expect like the ideal job is going to show up at your door, right? Nobody comes to your door knocking and saying, hey, I want to hire you. It's the same with love.
Yeah. It
doesn't work that way. You have to put yourself out there. And also, I think a lot of people need to realize that love is an inside job.
Yes.
We have to do our work on ourselves so that we are really ready to receive love and to also make healthy choices around relationships. It's all inside stuff.
That is the best point here, because if we don't love ourselves, if we're not happy, I mean, somebody can give us a list and say what they want, but if we're not that way, if our finances aren't in order, if we're not healthy or fit, but we're asking for that in a partner, that's not fair, either to ask.
And also, when you have a really detailed list like that, what you're doing is you're shutting out so many possibilities of somebody that could be a good mate for you. Sometimes the mate that is right for us doesn't always come in the package that we expect.
That's right.
Or the suit that we expect. They may not have the kind of work that we expect. Yeah. You have to really be open. It's okay to have some standards. I'm all about that. For example, for me, honesty is a deal breaker. If you have a shred of dishonesty, it's not going to work for us. I need someone who is super honest, super candid. That was one of my criteria for a relationship. That's a criteria, you can find that. But if I'm sitting there saying, well, he's got to be 6'5", which, by the way, I do love tall men, and he's got to look just like Jaime Lannister from Game of Thrones, and he needs to be involved in this career, make this much money, and have 2 cats, and blah, blah, blah. It's too much.
Right. I had a woman sit down and say, I like if a guy has a BMW, it has to be a certain, I don't know, there's S models or letters. It has to be this model. It couldn't be this model. I'm like, what, are you kidding me? And I just practically, inside, I was laughing her out of the office. I was like, that's crazy. And then as a matchmaker, I get very frustrated when somebody says they only want a certain hair color or eye color. It's like, I don't understand that. It's the qualities. Like there are a finite amount of good, yes, honest people out there. I mean, there's a lot of bad people. There's a lot of criminals. There's a lot of weirdos. You know what I mean? We know this. Everybody's not normal, well-adjusted, honest, good people. So you want to expand as much as you can, so.
And you can't just focus on the physical or the sexual part.
Right.
You really have to focus on a person's character when you're thinking about a healthy relationship. So, is this person kind? How do they treat other people? Are they somebody that's reliable? Do they show up when they say they're going to show up? Do they text you? Yeah. Are they somebody that you can count on? Are they a good communicator? Are they funny? Humor is very important to me. Are they intelligent? Is this person hardworking? Yes. Look at their character. I mean, I've dated men from every different astrology sign, size, shape, color, in the universe. I have a specific type I like, but I have been very open to dating all different types until I found my right mate.
Now, did you end up with a tall man?
No, he's not tall.
Okay, see, so,
He's 5'8", so he's not tall.
Okay.
I mean, I'm only 5'3", so for me, it's still taller than me.
Right.
But, normally, if I have my preference is I love really, really tall men. That's always been something I've liked. Yeah. I have no idea why. Tall and lanky is my thing. And he's lanky, but he's not tall. So you have to, again, look outside these so-called
right.
preferences.
Yeah.
Now, that doesn't mean you have to go with the person that you don't find attractive, but you do need to be, again, looking beyond the human suit, and let's look at their character. Let's look how we communicate, how we get along as a couple. When we have a fight, for example, do you go at it head-to-head, or do you actually discuss it rationally? There's so much that you need to think about when you're choosing a life mate. You can't just be random with it.
No, and even consider the hair color if you have a preference. I mean, everybody's going to go gray at some point, most people, and then you can dye it. You're going to dye it anyway.
Right, and also, if you're worried about hair, what if your partner, these are things that people don't think about either. You may have a partner who has got a beautiful head of hair. My younger brother had a beautiful head of hair when he was younger.
Yeah.
My brother now is very bald.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Things can change over time.
That's right.
We get wrinkles, we get older. If you're going to be with someone as a life mate, it can't just be about that physical. You have to look beyond that, because we're going to get older, we're going to change. Sometimes we get ill.
Yes.
That could change, be a whole game changer. You have to really think about those things with love. Love has to be, you're looking at the person's soul. We're not just looking, again, at that outer packaging.
That's right. I think that our society, humans are pretty shallow, as it is, and I think we're too focused on that outer package. It's a detriment, and sometimes the guys, they'll even say, Marla, I wish I wasn't like this. Men are so visual, and I said, I know, it's like a curse almost. Oh, okay, I know what I wanted to ask you before it had slipped my mind and it came back. All right, so astrology. Sometimes I'll have women say, well, what sign is he? And I don't get along with Scorpios, and I'm only a good match with this. What do you say about that? Should anyone, I would never rule somebody out because of an astrology sign, but should someone consider it? What do you say when someone's stickler on this?
Here's the thing with astrology. Astrology shows us trends. It's not cut in stone. You can't say that every Taurus is stubborn. You have to look beyond just the sun sign. There's a lot more to it. And my view is this: you can get along with anybody. But when you understand someone's astrology chart and their making and their tendencies, knowing that can actually be really helpful, so that okay, let's say you're getting someone who's a pure Taurus, and they've got everything is Taurus. Well, then this is probably going to be someone who tends to be very conservative. They're very, slow moving. They can lead towards stubbornness. So as a partner, understanding that, it gives you a blueprint on how to deal with your partner. You can be with any sign if you understand their working. And astrology shouldn't be a way to rule people out. It should be a way to understand people. Now, for example, if you read an astrology book, I'm a Gemini, my husband is a Virgo. A lot of astrology books said this sign will not get beyond the first date.
Yes, you and I have the same birthday, and my husband's a Virgo too. So that is so. Yeah.
Yes.
I read that it's the worst match in astrologically.
You and I have too much in common, Marla. I mean, this is like crazy. Every time I talk to you, it's like I'm discovering we've got another thing going on. We're compatible, obviously. Yeah. But, they say Virgos are like a terrible match, blah, 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 blah. So for me, I understand my husband's chart. I understand how he operates. And I know there's certain things, that I want to really be aware of. We have different styles of communication, for example. Yeah. My husband is super analytical, typical Virgo. He's got a Mercury in Virgo. And I have a Mercury in Gemini. I can be analytical too, but I'm all over the place. My brain is like, ooh, 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 ooh. And so I have to ground myself when we're discussing things. And he has to sometimes really keep up with my quicksilver mind. Yeah. We have to meet in the middle. And that's the real key with astrology. I love to use my daughter as an example, too. When my daughter was born, I actually had planned her by astrology. This is like mom astrology, we want to call it. And she came through because I wanted to be sure I would have kids that I got along with. Now, this is when I was doing astrology way back in the day, and I assumed you had to have certain signs to get along with. Yeah. And she came 3 weeks early. Okay. And when I did her chart, which I did it right in the hospital, I looked at it and I cried. I said, this is going to be a hard child for me to get along with. Well, the moral of the story is my daughter does have a very challenging chart. But once I got over my own attitudes about that chart and recognized what she needed in order for her to thrive in this relationship, we are like two peas in a pod.
What sign is she?
She's a Leo.
Okay.
She just made Leo. She was almost a Cancer, and I wanted a Leo really bad, but she got too much Leo. And I was like, oh my God, this is going to be a hard child. But she's delightful because, again, it gave me a roadmap, so I knew how to understand her and how to work with her. Now,
is your husband a clean freak?
He is He goes from one extreme to the other. Clean. He can be very clean, but he also likes to hoard stuff, which drives me nuts.
Oh, okay, yeah, because the Virgo is, because my husband will be scrubbing the toilet at 1 a.m. I mean, when he gets home from work, he's really, really a clean, Virgo on steroids.
Yeah, I love that, by the way. I love clean freaks. My sister's a clean freak. She's a Capricorn. You can lick off the floor of her house. Yeah.
That is fantastic. Well, do you have any last tidbits for the singles out there?
For the singles, the main thing is be yourself, relax, and don't treat dating like a blood sport. Don't think of it as something that is so intense. Go have fun. The best way for you to meet a good partner is get out there and have fun and enjoy the process, enjoy the journey. Being single is not a negative thing. It is an opportunity to live your life by your terms and to enjoy dating and meeting people. So don't treat it like this end-all and be-all. Really enjoy the process, enjoy the journey, make it fun.
That's true, because I'll say I've been, this is my third marriage. I started really young. So
I got married young too.
And I will say that when I was single, so I'm married to a clean freak. Now, I can't leave the bed unmade. I can't leave a dish in the sink. I can't do, everything's got to be a certain way. The knickknacks here, this, that. So when you're so you've got to compromise on some things. When I was single, I could do what I wanted, when I wanted, no one to, answer to. So there are benefits to being single and benefits to being married or with somebody. So enjoy each stage. That is, I wholeheartedly agree with that. If you're single, just embrace it. Like, this is a great fun alone time, because then when I am with somebody, I'm not going to have some of those aspects of the freedom that I had before. So thank you, Theresa, for sharing all of your love tips. And you guys, if you want a reading from Theresa, she's amazing. All of her links are below. Let us know what you think. And if you have any crazy Valentine's Day stories, I always love to hear those. So leave us some comments. If you like this video, like it and share it with your single friends. Bye, everybody. Much love.